to ask actually women entrepreneurs themselves about how they built their business. And let's get inspired by three amazing ladies in our next session. We inspire, and I would like to welcome Hiatt. She is the founder and CEO of Hypergiant. She is a leadership strategist and consultant, and she's also a book author. Thank you and for coming here, and welcome, Anne.
It's a pleasure. Thanks very much for having me.
And furthermore, I welcome Eva Diaz. She is the CEO of Appogeo Digital, and we're so happy to have you here, Eva. Good morning.
Hi, Helen. How are you? Nice to meet you, and nice to be here with all of you in order to share some interesting idea that we can have.
Thank you, Eva. And third, I welcome with all my heart Maria Kottari, who's the founder of the Energy Matrix. It's great you're here, Maria. Welcome.
Thank you, Helen. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for the warm welcome, and I'm really thrilled to be here with you today and have an amazing discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I already want to invite everybody to keep commenting in the chat. And also, if you have questions to our panelists, do not hesitate to ask them in the Q&A box. We will come back to you either in our discussion, but we will also not forget you in case anything gets not answered live. We will come back and our community will come back to you after this session. So let us kick off. What a female powerhouse panel we have this morning. Anne, you are, your path is just incredible. You have been learning in Silicon Valley from leaders like Jeff Bezos and Eric Schmidt, Marissa Mayer. You have to tell us about that experience, and also about what best practices you can share with us and inspire us to advance so early in your career. This is what your path has been, and how you grew at personal level so early. We're so happy to have you, and looking forward to hearing your story, Anne.
Oh, thanks very much. Yeah, I feel very privileged to have had the crazy career journey that I did. I was really lucky that the dot-com bust happened when it did, honestly. I graduated from university in 2002, and I'm from Seattle, and that is a very tech-heavy economy. So most of the economy had disappeared overnight right before I graduated. And it was only because of those limitations that I actually applied to work at Amazon at all, and ended up with my very first job outside of university, working directly for Jeff Bezos in the earliest years of Amazon. My desk at Amazon was actually literally physically the closest desk to Jeff's in the entire company. And that was my personal business school, and very much a trial by fire. But that is how I learned to be very proactive in my career, to create opportunities for myself, to do things before I felt ready to do them perfectly, and to unapologetically learn to be bold. That was not my nature. I definitely had to learn that and be nurtured into that. But Amazon was a great environment for cultivating that. Then I went back to my plan A, which was to be an academic, and moved to California because I got into my dream program at Berkeley. But soon I was recruited out and worked for Google for the next 12 years. Now in tech, as we all know, that's a very long time to be at a single institution, especially in those early years of the company. Many people would leave once they were fully vested after 4 years. But I stayed, and that really taught me some of my best practices around being an intrapreneur. There might be some people listening here who aren't quite ready to become a founder themselves. I learned a lot of best practices that I even use now as a startup founder, that I cultivated through an attitude of being an intrapreneur and creating opportunities for advancement and learning and leveling up while working at a single institution for 12 years. I really had to put myself in a driver's seat and reinvent my job description about every 3 years. And that took a lot of proactive decision-making on my part. If I had to try and break down 15 years of Silicon Valley best practices into what's serving me now as a European-based startup founder, I think it's 3 things that I would really encourage everyone participating here today to think about. Is to be very purposeful about, first, what do you want to learn in this next stage of your career? What expertise do you want to have? What knowledge do you want to be sharing? What stages do you want to be standing on? What publications do you want to write for? The second is, how can you get experience with leaders that you want to become like? Not just that you like and respect and enjoy being around, but those who are going to teach you the habits of leadership that embody the type of person and founder or entrepreneur you want to be. And then the third thing that has led to the most happiness and prevented burnout despite 18-hour days for decades. The third element I look for is really disruption, whether it's an industry or a team or a company with an attitude and a tolerance for disruption and constantly challenging your learning and your best practices and getting outside your comfort zone and your status quo. Those three things have been an indicator for me of when I want to stay and when maybe I want to go and make a new bet on myself.
Wow, Anne, thank you so much for your insight and also your secrets. I hear that it's very important as business owner and on your path to grow personally and to set your personal goals first.
Yes.
And then put your business. And we will hear more from you in a moment. First of all, I would like to invite Eva to share her story, because Eva, you already shared with me earlier how you feel the digital transformation is actually a huge opportunity for women, for diversity and a different form of leadership. You have to tell us why and what has been your path to come to that conclusion.
I think first of all, we can change our mindset about digital. Digital is not about technology. Digital technology really is the big opportunity to reinvent our business, to eliminate the barriers between sectors, to reimagine our operations in our companies. I think that there are two big examples of that. One of them is how banking is reinventing through technology and pressed by the fintech companies. Amazon is another best example about how it's possible to redefine the commerce and the logistics sectors. So digital world is a digital of disruption. It's a digital of reimagining our world. Another important point is that digital technology is very huge. And the innovation in technology is able to arouse in any point of the world. So it's very difficult to think like in the past, companies in the industry 3.0, companies that in my company, I have all the talent, I have all the knowledge about technology in order to make my business. So digital world is a digital of innovation. And in that world, the most important is talent. It's not the technology, it's the talent. I can have the best engineers, I can have the best algorithms in artificial intelligence. I can have the most or the best hardware for Internet of Things. If my company is not able to understand how to use that in order to reinvent in the world, in order to reinvent in my company, in order to reinvent in my business, I'm going not to be successful. So in the past, the most important was productivity and effectivity in operations. In the present, in the digital world, the most important is the talent in order to apply technology in a different way to reinvent in our world, our business. And if the important is talent, in order to innovate, the leadership style must change. The classical style is leadership of a hierarchy based on the position of the CEO is not useful. We have to delegate the capacity to innovate, the capacity to create, the capacity to redefine our world to our talent, to our teams. This kind of leadership is very different. It's a leadership of collaboration. It's a leadership based on values. The new leaders must be a person that are able to create a proposal in the company, that are able to define not the future, even the way, even why our company is in the economic world. And this kind of leadership is a leadership based in a lot of our capacity, like women. because we are more collaborative. In fact, there are a lot of studies that reveals that the companies that are leading by women, not by men, are companies where the culture is more collaborative, the culture is more oriented to results, but based on in values. That is very, very different and very important. So if we want to use the digital technology in order to disrupt, if we want to use digital technology in order to reinvent our company and to be successful, we have to change the leadership style. And this is the big opportunity for women. This is a big opportunity for diversity, because diversity is the most important issue to innovate. It's absolutely impossible to innovate if we are thinking in the same schemes and the same kind of thinking of the past. Diversity, collaboration, and proposal are the best powers to create innovation, to reinvent the world, and to reinvent our business. So we need different leaders, and the future is for us.
Wow, thank you, Eva, for your powerful statement. Mic drop. We cannot get close to WEgate Summit yet, but you said something very, very inspiring here. Thank you. And I also want to welcome Maria to invite her to share her story. Maria, I think so many women can or will can connect to you and identify with your experience, because you are working in a very male-dominated area, the energy sector, and it has also been one of the reasons and one of the drivers for you to say, I'm going to do my own thing. Tell us more about your journey of founding the Energy Matrix.
Yes, Helen, thank you. Allow me actually to start on the early PhD years. I have a background of international relations and political studies. That is also something that, you know, is you have more women that they are studying the same in the same sector, whereas you have more male population that they are directed towards technological fields. And when I actually wanted to do something practical in my PhD, I mean, to bridge theory and practice, I chose energy. And at that moment, it sounds like, wow, it's the future. And actually, you know, my presence really rewards me about my choice there. But I think that I couldn't, you know, put myself in such a difficult situation than with my choice. First of all, actually, in terms of international relations and energy, it was actually a niche sector. I remember myself going to conferences, and there were a few panels talking about geopolitics of energy and climate change. And after years, we have masters that they're touching upon. So what I want to say here is that if you have this gut feeling that something is prominent, don't hesitate. Choose that and put all of your energy, because this choice will reward you afterwards. That's happened to me. Then regarding the sector being male dominated, so let us think about energy. Energy actually fuels the economy, so it's energy sector and economy are very, very interconnected. So you have energy sector interacting with big companies, so all of those sectors are by facto male dominated. So I found like really difficult even to have some field work on that, because being a woman, I was regarding of not being able to say something important. However, throughout my journey, I assure you that I always have something to add, even from a different perspective. And that's why also through my work, I praise for inclusiveness, for open the horizons and go beyond the silos. Then also I was coming from a background that was not technological background. So have been regarding from a technological people or engineers that I didn't have any insight to bring into the debate. However, I have seen this field, the energy field, evolving and now bringing more the humanities in. Specifically about you know, my path in creating the consultancy, a basic question that I have put to myself, and I think many women out there also put to the same question, is when is the right moment? When actually actually you do, this choice to go to break through. So myself, I have kind of concluded my journey in terms of the studies. So I had the foundations in terms of the theory, and then I let some years pass in order to gain professional experience. Of course, I had the chance to work for the European Commission. That is a great institution, a big institution, and test myself there. But also to see the working patterns. What are the patterns that I like? What are the patterns that they fit me? And what actually they're the patterns that enable me to bring more in the sector, and they fit me as personal. And I think that many women hesitate to say that. We just adjust to a pattern that doesn't feel good also for our nature. So after having worked for the European Commission's Joint Research Center, I had both the theory and the practical background to go alone, and also the sense of security that I am able to convince my partners that I have something to say and something new to bring in the sector. And as I said, that the problems were many, the barriers were numerous and multiple, but what has not changed throughout that path is that I was convinced that I have something to say. And that's actually, what I want to disseminate as a message to young women. If you're sure that you have something to add, please go, because the sectors as energy sector and the process needs you. Don't stay silent.
Oh, thank you so much, Maria, for saying that. It's so powerful coming out of your story. And let's talk about leadership here. And let me also start with you and come back to what you just said, Maria, because I feel you are one of the female leaders in the energy sector, who's shaping the sector also with your values and your way of doing a business. And can you tell us, what do you feel? How will our society, how will the climate transition be different when women play a role in that transition?
Thank you, Ellen, for this question. Actually, this was also one of the reasons that I built the energy matrix. And here with the matrix, what I wanted actually to showcase is that energy and climate change and the way that we are approaching and we are providing solutions to those issues should not be regarding from one side, should not be regarding only from economy, should not be regarding only from the interests of the big companies. We should really bring elements that they touch upon the society, because both the energy transition, that is a key solution to the climate change, will disrupt the societal network. And here actually the women have a big role to play. And to be honest, I'm very surprised that I'm talking with not only with peers, but also with other women that they have good positions in other sectors. And when I tell them that I have a consultancy and my focus is the societal aspects of energy transition, and especially the role of the woman, they were like, wow, what is the role of the woman? And then I just start with simple examples. So energy transition means that we have to go to use more cleaner energy in our everyday life, meaning driving electric cars, or also the way that we use the energy to heat our home. And then he asked the simple question, who is the leader of the home? Who is the leader of the household? Or who needs, for example, to drive the children to school? And those are traditionally roles that women have and might continue to have in the future. And since energy transition, also the way that is built in the European Union and with the European Commission's bring forward legislative measures, they want to empower the consumers. But actually, when we're talking about consumers and household, we're talking about women. And women, many times they don't have the capacities in order to enable themselves, for example, to use digital tools We're talking about smartphones. They don't have the capacity or even the means to participate in the so-called energy communities, that they're communities that produce energy from renewable sources to heat or to cool the houses. Or they don't even have the financial capacity to pay for the energy bills, or to have the financial capacity to change for another provider. If we go then to the climate change, we will see that the impacts disproportionately affect rural population. I'm talking about, on world scale, and also the most vulnerable situation. And though there the numbers showcase that are the female population that is affected by climate change, and women population needs to be capable to adapt. And we have really to build tools in order to give the women the possibility. And I'm talking here about sex disaggregated data. I'm talking here to access to finance for climate adaptation actions. I'm talking to knowledge for agriculture and other types of products. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it here. If there is a follow-up question, I will be happy to come in again.
Yeah, thank you, Maria, because it's so important to hear from your sector what women need, because most of the decisions in the past have been taken by men, but for all of society. So thank you so much for highlighting that. And Anne, I want to turn to you, because as a CEO of Hypergiant, I feel, and you have shared that with me already, that you are looking for specific qualities when hiring and building your teams. And I feel like asking you, how do you feel it differs when you hire and build your team than what you think a male leader would look for? And do you pass that experience also on to your clients when you consult them?
Yeah, I'm really glad that this question is following your last, which was around passions and what is driving you. I think that's such an important framework to have in mind when we're building our teams, especially in the earliest stages of a company. Those initial first hires are what create your culture. And though having the right players on your foundational team is essential for your future opportunities for growth. I really feel like I have learned this playbook by watching some of the best in the world hire their teams. So I have some best practices I've taken from Jeff Bezos and from Eric Schmidt at Amazon and Google, and then I've personalized those for now in my own company. So my initial lesson in that was when I was leaving Amazon after 3 years. So at this point, it's 2005. It's still very, very early in Amazon's history and growth. And we interviewed what felt like about 1,000 people to replace me. And Jeff just said no to all of them. I was getting really nervous because I couldn't change the start date of my PhD program, and we hadn't yet found someone to be my replacement. I'd really wanted to have a lot of time to do some hands-on training, but he could not be tempted to go back to candidates that he had already deemed not ready for this role. So I asked him, what are we missing? And he said, I will only hire people that I need to hold back, not push forward. That energy exchange is really, really important and really different. And I think it goes back to your question about passion alignment. If what you're doing every day, at that stage, we were very much working 18 hours every day. And if someone wasn't passion aligned with what we were doing, that was a recipe for burnout. So if you find someone that is so engaged, so driven, and so filled up by the challenges of their work, he would not have to waste any time as a CEO in getting those passion-driven talents and effort out of his employees. And that's something I've used for myself in the, 15 years that have passed since that moment. I interviewed thousands of people for roles while I was at Google. And now in my own company, I use that same compass. So first that I look for is really passion alignment. That's much more important than culture fit. We want passion alignment to kind of drive our efforts in a similar direction. Second is I'm looking for someone who has a very clear idea of what they want to learn and grow into, how their talents and their ambitions align with what I'm trying to do with my company. And then third is what I'm trying to do is really be proactive in my hiring now as a CEO myself. rather than reactionarily waiting for candidates to come to me, I'm watching this space. I'm looking for talent in the ecosphere that impresses me, that is already aligned. They're already showing up at the same conferences I'm at, commenting on the same things in the media and the news. And so I know that we're in alignment with what we want to contribute in the world. And that oftentimes makes all the difference. So I actually, when I created the job description for my very first hire in my company, I'm based in Spain. My husband told me that it was impossible to find somebody, that list was unrealistic. But in the very next room here, I found her. My first employee was literally everything I was looking for on that list. I just had to wait and proactively seek out where she might be. And I'm really happy to have a full female energy company where a lot of our clients need that new perspective. They need to understand the diversity. And I think in having a proactive relationship towards hiring, that is the most natural way that we can diversify our companies as we're putting them together, rather than being reactionary and who has applied and thinks they qualify for the roles. Seeking them out, especially when we have a priority of looking for diverse voices, perspectives, expertise, and opinions. For me, that's the greatest indicator of future success, is when we really have fully empowered teams who are passion aligned and come from diverse expertise.
You are really an inspiring leader, changing how hiring processes go, how teams work together. And I feel that's why we need us and women everywhere in these leadership positions for more diversity in teams and in leadership. And looking at the time, I will now also come to Eva, because she has such an inspiring and important story as well to tell. And we will close already with Eva and her story, because Eva, you need to share with us. It's so inspiring because you have been a leader at a professional level and at a personal level. To me, you know what it is to be a male leader and a female leader after your gender identity transition. And you shared with us that you are comfortable asking you, what is the main difference between male leadership and female leadership to you after your experience? And what is your message to anybody who still has bias, because you're also working in AI and digital, where bias is an important problem?
I think that but to explain the difference, the best way is to use an example. After my gender transition, I joined like CEO in a company, and it was a company about I don't remember right now, 5 years old, more or less. Okay, and all the people in the company was men, and they were used to work together from 5 years. So I did the right action at the beginning. You start in a company like CEO is to meet all the team in order to try to understand what is happening, what are the problems, what are the features, try to understand really. I did that meeting, and at the end of the meeting, 2 days after, I don't remember right now. Anyway, after the meeting, I took several decisions. Okay. Normal. Try to define a new kind of operation, work in another way, slightly changes to the strategy and ATC. I was using my skills learned like a male leader in big consulting companies like Accenture. Okay. So like leader in that moment, I was expecting that my instruction were followed by my team, because I was the CEO of the company. What should be my surprise when 1 month after, nobody was doing what I told them. Everyone was working in the same way, or in a way that was not aligned with my guidelines. So I meet with each of them, and surprisingly, they was not doing what altogether now, what I decided, because they have not confidence on me. I have the experience, I have the knowledge, both in the sector, in the technology and etc. I have the experience to lead a very complex teams, but they were not confident on me. When I tried to understand what is happening, my conclusion was really incredible. They was not following me because I was a woman. Okay. So it was really, it was surprising. When I did the transition, I thought that my main problem in the life, it was about my body or my appearance or etc. I didn't expect that my main problem is how to lead a company. So I changed the strategy, and I started to work with everyone individually, try to understand their expectations, try to understand their barriers about me, like leader. And I changed from with difficult, because I was not trained, from a very hierarchy leadership to a more or a leadership style more based on generate a common proposal from everyone. Basically, the final result was the same. Okay, my strategy was the right one. So the difference is that at the beginning I tried to impose my vision, and in the second phase I was able to move all of them to the same strategy, and all of them were thinking that they were participants of that decision. Okay. And after that, talking with different women friends of myself, I was realized that all of the women leaders that I had in my network had been experiencing something similar. I think that our style, like woman leader, is more a cooperation style. In fact, on the question before, I was thinking something very similar. We have to generate our power, combining our teams that we are able to do it. The money usually based in general, of course. The money usually take the power based on the position, based on the hierarchy. We have they have not to get the confidence, okay, or it's not necessary or absolutely necessary for them.
So if I can come in, what is your message, if I may ask that at the end, and I'll ask the same to Anne and Maria to close our session. What is your message to female leaders to feel confident through their sense of collaboration and their female qualities?
My final message is that it's at the beginning. The future is of a female leadership, because the new world that is coming, or that is here, really, is a world of collaboration. It's the right world for our capacities, for our abilities, for our way of leadership style. So be confident, be optimistic, and be sure that we can do it. We can be, as women, the leadership of the future and even the present.
Thank you, Eva, so much, and helped by the digital transition, right? And Maria, what is your message to any female entrepreneur struggling from your experience?
Yeah, I'm going to repeat the same that I have said also during my intervention, that don't remain silent, because actually sometimes we complain about problems, or we're complaining about obstacles. If we are not the ones that they were going to break those obstacles, we're going to move forward. Of course, it requires a lot of effort, but I have seen myself, and also with other women that I found, they're brilliant in the energy transition and doing having similar projects and consultancies as I do, that this can be done. It's just to overcome the fear and be sure, as I said, that we have something to say and something to put on the table. And we do that not only for our sake, we do that for the sake of our society. So that's my message.
Powerful. Thank you so much, Maria. And Anne, what is your message to any female entrepreneur who wants to go for it?
My greatest philosophy is to bet on yourself, to make sure that you are investing and believing in yourself. I hope the big takeaway from this incredibly inspiring panel and the comments of Eva and Maria are really that what makes you unique makes you worthy. That is a qualifier of your unique voice and expertise and experience. I have been very privileged to work for some of the most visionary and effective CEOs in the entire world. And what I've seen on the other side of that is I've seen them in their creation process. They were not born these entrepreneurs that you see now on magazine covers. What I've seen is really that they too have had their moments of doubt and of imposter syndrome where they had to pause and really shore up their confidence again. So if you have those moments, we all do, know you're in very good company. These celebrity CEOs too have those moments. But I think one of the most important things I learned from watching their journey, especially in the early foundational years of their journeys, was that we can reframe these imposter syndrome experiences for us mentally where they can just be moments. Syndrome sounds like a permanent diagnosis or something that defines you. But if you can reframe that as I'm having an imposter moment, thank it for what it's trying to protect you from and move into that moment of confidence, knowing that you are uniquely qualified just because of who you are. That has really helped me in those moments of doubt, to remember that we all experience that. And the world needs your unique perspective now more than ever. I think that's one of the most beautiful silver linings I'm seeing post-pandemic, because we're realizing that the need for diverse leadership is more important now than ever to try and solve some of the world's greatest problems. So I hope you'll believe in yourself and realize that what makes you different qualifies you for a seat at that table.
Mic drop, Anne. Thank you so much. And Anne, Eva, Maria, your stories are success stories. And I want to thank you for sharing so openly also about your successes and your ambitions, because I think we can all as women be confident about sharing those success stories. You are role models for all of us. And I just want to say to everybody listening who took something away from this, you are all role models too. And as Anne just said, and Maria and Eva, you pointed out so well, we do things differently as women, and that is exactly what is needed. So let's use our voice, let's come together and let's do things the way that feels right to us women, and to follow our needs there, because when we do businesses like that, we will serve so many people in our society in a more equal way. So thank you so much for contributing to that. Thank you for your inspiring thoughts and insights into your businesses. Anne, Maria, and Eva, thank you for coming to the WEgate Summit today. And I want to invite everybody now to connect, because we have our coffee break now. And I invite you to come to the Wonder Me coffee table. Our colleagues have just posted the link in the chat. Have a look, it is extremely intuitive. You just come in, you go to a coffee table, get yourself a drink, and connect, interact, exchange about what we have just heard. We hope you will enjoy it, and we look forward to seeing you again at 12 o'clock, that's in 20 minutes, for our We Grow session with the WEgate Community Council on gender equality. And I also know that some of you have already matchmaking sessions, so have fun connecting, and I wish you a great coffee break and conversations, and see you here again at 12. And for now, click on the Wonder Me link here in the chat and see you there for coffee. Thank you.